Hi guys, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady. I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. And today's question is, what are short sales and foreclosures? Okay, they're both great mechanisms. Many landlords I know have gotten their properties through using these type of mechanisms. They're both processes that involve usually distressed properties, but they differ in some respects. For a short sale, you are usually dealing with a motivated seller that is trying to unload their property for less than what they owe on a mortgage. So therefore they have to get their bank's permission. So it's kind of, you got working with the bank. They have to approve this along with the seller who's going to be, paying back less than their mortgage, but they're all going to be in agreement with this. And then you're going to come in and get the property. Now, this can be quite a lengthy process because the homeowner and bank have to agree on those terms, right? Say they owe $100,000 and you're trying to do this sale for $80,000. The bank's going to have to mediate that and see if they will agree to it before you can swoop in and get the property via short sale. So if you're patient, the short sale can result in a great below market deal. I've done a few of these because I work well with the sellers, because often these are people who've gotten themselves in a bind, but they're motivated to sell and get out of this. They want this to happen before it goes into foreclosure, and they have that whole deal on their record. So it's something that can definitely work well if you're good at communicating with the seller and trying to move along the process so that you can secure the property. Second way would be through foreclosure, and that's when the bank actually repossesses the property due to non-payment of the mortgage. It's an even lengthier process because the homeowner first has to default on the sale of the loan. Sometimes they can't agree on a short sale, or the person simply is taken off, or it's a situation with an estate and there's heirs involved, and it can just kind of get messy, and it has to kind of go through this whole process until the bank retains ownership. They get the house. Because the person has walked away from this loan or defaulted on it. And what's good about that situation is banks hate owning property. They have to get somebody to mow the lawn. They have to get somebody to take care of things. They have to pay the taxes. They don't want to mess with that. They want that off their books. So they're often motivated sellers to somebody like you, a real estate investor. So that's why it's good to make some connections with your local bankers, because I've had them call me up and say, hey, Wendy, I got this property. It's got 3 apartments in it and a commercial space below. It'd be great. We can give you a great loan on it, because see, they want to give you a loan. So you can kind of work that angle to actually make a good deal out of a foreclosed type of situation. So win-win, you get this great property, you might get a little sweet deal on the loan, and the banks get to take this property off their books because they don't want to be in charge of that. So again, both processes are impacted by your local laws. So you always want to consult with your attorney, see if this is something that's going to work out well for you, and or your financial advisor, and get some advice. And if you're interested, it's always a good idea to have some connections with a local banker where you can sit down and talk to them about this and say, hey, I'm considering doing some short sales. Do you ever come across these or foreclosures? And have those connections so that they can feed them to you and they can kind of walk you through the process. So again, it's not easy being a landlord and landlady, especially now. Sometimes it's hard to find great properties. So this is a great way to try to find something. Usually they're a little more distressed because they've gone through a lengthy, bad process. And so they might need a little rehab and loving care, but it can be a great way for a real estate investor to actually jump in on real estate and start making a profit. So that's what we're all here for, right? So if you've done a short sale or foreclosure, tell us about it in the comments, because we can all learn from each other and be better landlords for it. Thanks. Have a great day.